Hi all, welcome to Malware Analysis. I'm J. Lavanya, Assistant Professor of CSE Department. Today in this video, we're gonna discuss about the topic called combat teams in malware analysis. What is meant by combat team? In many organizations, the combat team for malware analysis is simply the cross-functional incident response squad you assemble whenever a malicious binary or attack campaign shows up on your network. Its job is to take the sample from ooh to we understood, we stopped it, and we won't get hit again. For malware analysis, simply the cross-functional incident response squad you assemble whenever a malicious binary or attack campaign shows up on your network. Okay, and most probably, this kind of combat team will be occurring in malware analysis. But the main thing or this combat team, it is also called as blue team. Okay, which utilize some malware analysis to understand and respond to some threats. So they investigate the incidents, identify the malware, and determine its source to prevent the future attacks. So this involves examining the malware's behavior, identifying its components, and understanding how it works. Okay. So if you take the key aspects of this combat team is that first one is that like instant response, threat intelligence, malware detection and prevention, static and dynamic analysis, and forensic data analysis. So what is meant by instant response is that, so here the malware analysis is a crucial part of instant response, providing information about the nature of the malware, its origin, and how it functions. Okay, and in threat intelligence, by analyzing the malware, blue teams can gather the threat intelligence which helps them to understand the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by the attackers. So this intelligence can be used to improve the security measures and prevent the future attacks. And malware detection and prevention. Secure understanding the malware behavior through some analysis enables the team to develop more effective detection and prevention strategies, such as updating antivirus definitions or creating application allow list or improving the network security. Okay, and static and dynamic analysis. So here the malware analysis involves both the static analysis, that is examining the code without running it, and dynamic analysis, running the code in a safe environment to understand its functionality. And forensic data analysis. So blue teams also use forensic data analysis to investigate the compromised system and networks and identify the extent of the breach and gather evidence for some legal or investigative purposes. In essence, this blue team or the combat team leverage the malware analysis to understand the threat, that is identify the type of malware, its functionality and its impact, and respond to incidents which provide insight for some incident response or containment and eradication, and prevent the future attack, which improves the security posture by leveraging the analysis results to update the defenses and prevent some future infections, and gather the forensic data which collect the evidence for some investigations and some legal proceedings. Okay, so this is all about the combat team. Okay, and the key aspects. Now let us see what are the teams available under this blue team, or I mean this combat team. Okay, so first of all we are gonna see is that SOC team, or it is otherwise called as Security Operations Center. So this This SO team, it's a specialized group of cybersecurity professionals which are responsible for safeguarding an organization's digital assets by monitoring, detecting, and analyzing the cyber threats. They act as the first line of defense, working to protect the organization's IT infrastructure from potential breaches and security. So this is the first line of detects, in detecting or in responding to some threats. And this SOC team monitors the systems and network traffic 24/7. Okay, and what are the key functions if you take? Continuous monitoring, like the SOC team continuously monitors an organization's IT infrastructure, including networks, servers, endpoints, and applications for suspicious activity and some potential threats. Okay, and threat reduction. So they identify and analyze the potential threats using some various tools and techniques such as security information and event management, that is SIEM systems, and threat intelligence feeds. Okay, and incident response. So this SOC team is responsible for developing and implementing the incident response plan to contain or eradicate and recover from some security incidents, and forensic analysis. In the event of a security breach, the SOC team conducts forensic analysis to determine the root cause or the extent of the damage and identify the lessons learned. Okay, and vulnerability management if you take. So SOC teams proactively identify and address the vulnerabilities in the organization systems and applications to prevent the future attacks. And next, like security awareness training, this SOC team, they may also play a role like in educating the employees about the security best practices and raising awareness of the potential threats. And like if you take the collaboration, SOC team often collaborate with other departments within the organization and may also work with the third-party security providers. Okay, so this escalates some suspicious malware activity to instantly response team. Okay, and if you take the importance of SOC team, protecting the critical assets, like SOCs protect sensitive data, intellectual property, and other critical assets from some cyber threats, and minimizing the impact of breaches. So by rapidly detecting and responding to some incidents, SOCs helps minimize the impact of security breaches on the organization and ensuring the business continuity. A robust SOC team which helps ensure the availability and reliability of critical systems and services, minimizing the disruptions to some business operations. And meeting some compliance requirements is that many industries and regulations require organizations to have some security operations capabilities to comply with some specific security standards. And proactive defense is that so SOCs help organizations move from a reactive to proactive approach to cybersecurity, enabling them to anticipate and mitigate the threats before they cause some significant damage. So in essence, it uses some SIEM tools like Splunk or QRadar to identify the anomalies. So this is the cornerstone of an organization's cybersecurity, which provides a centralized and coordinated approach to defend against the ever-evolving threat landscape. Okay, so this is all about the SOCT. So next, we are going to discuss is about a malware analysis team. So malware analysis team, what they will be doing is that they will deeply analyze a malicious file to understand the behavior as well as the impact. In general, we can say like it is a group of cybersecurity professionals which is focused on understanding the behavior and characteristics of a malicious software. Okay, and this like if you're going for this kind of malware analysis, uh, this uses some various techniques to some dissect malware or identify its functionality or develop some strategies to defend against it. Okay, and it's crucial for instant response, threat intelligence, and improving the overall organizational security. So, what are the key responsibilities of a malware analysis team if you take? Like a malware detection and identification, which identifies suspicious files or activity that might be a malware. And second one, like malware analysis, so examining the code and behavior of malware to understand its capabilities, purpose, and potential impact. Instant response, assisting in the investigation and remediation of security incidents which is caused by the malware. And threat intelligence, gathering information about malware and threat actors to improve the overall security posture, and developing the defenses, creating and refining security measures based on the findings from the malware analysis. So what are the tools and techniques they are using is that first one, static analysis, that examines a malware's code without executing, often uses some tools like dissemblers or decompilers. And the dynamic analysis, which observes the malware's behavior in a controlled environment, say to like example sandbox, you can take. Like similar to that in reverse engineering also, it uses tools like IDA Pro or Gitra to understand some malware internals or to understand the functionality and identify the vulnerabilities. And this malware analysis platform uses some specialized tools and platforms for automated malware analysis. Okay, and threat intelligence platforms, if you take, utilizes platform to gather and analyze the information about malware and threat actors. So if you take the basic benefits of a malware analysis, improved instant response, which enables faster and more effective responses to some malware attack, and enhanced threat intelligence. It provides valuable insights into the nature and behavior of malware. Third one, stronger security posture. It helps organizations identify the vulnerabilities and implement the better defenses and reduce the risk. So here, by understanding the malware, organizations which can take proactive steps to prevent some infections and minimize the damage level. And better understanding of the attacks, like malware analysis, it helps understand how attacks are carried out and the tactics used by the threat actors. So typically a combat team of like composed, or it relies on team composition. Like it has some instant commander like team lead, or the coordinates or stakeholders, assigns task, tracks progress, communicates up and out. And there will be some malware analysis and there's reverse engineers. So here, like we have seen here, like static analysis, dynamic analysis, and deep reverse is dropped into like IDA, Kidra, OLI, X64DBG to recover some algorithms. And forensic and IR engineers here, they will examine the host and network logs or memory capture, disk images for IOCs and lateral movement artifacts. And they here use some threat intel or hunting and correlate IOCs with some external sources. And they stand up isolated analysis labs, sandboxes like Remnax, Flare, VM, and they have to merge some automated pipelines like Yara, Kappa, VXStream, and try systems, and they have to go for some legal compliance communications to advise some data privacy, breach notification, or the public statements. Okay. Uh, and also, if you take like the typical workflow for this manual analysis include triage and containment, static analysis, dynamic analysis, so in-depth reference, I mean reverse engineering, forensic and threat hunting, okay, and mitigation and remediation, lessons learned as well as reporting, okay. Like the main key tools and platforms, if you take like static click, IDE Pro, Gintra, Binary Ninja. Okay, for dynamic, they use some sandbox, Flare VM, and for network they goes to like Wireshark, Browsy, Zurich, Tap, and for automation they use some tools like Kappa, Sigma, Elastic, Splunk. Okay, and for collaboration or tracking they use the Hive, Slack, MS Team, or Confluence or TIR. Okay, so first we have already discussed, and the malware, what they will do is that malware research specializes in studying various types of malware to understand their behavior, development, and impact. Okay, they contribute to broader cybersecurity knowledge by analyzing the malware and its characteristics. Okay, so this is all about the malware analysis team. Next one is that instant response team. So the role or the way is that it contains some or eradicates and recovers from malware incidents, investigate the scope and impact of the infection, and coordinates containment is said, isolating from infected systems, and which leads to pose some instant recovery and root cause analysis. Okay, and here also if you take this IR team is essential for some instant response as it helps to determine the cause and impact of malware incidents, aiding in remediation and recovery efforts. So IR team provides root cause analysis and determine the scope of impact according to the crowd strike. Okay. And next one, if you take like this IR team in malware, what will they will do is that uh, it has some responsibilities, right? In malware instance, similar to what we have seen before, like so many teams. So this team also will have some certain responsibility. So first is that detection and identification. So identifying malware infections through some various means, such as security monitoring tools or user reports or some anomaly detection. And second one, like containment, limiting the spread of malware by isolating the affected systems, networks, or the data. And third one is that analysis, investigating the malware to understand the functionality, origin, and potential impact. So this includes analyzing the malware samples, system logs, as well as the network traffic. And next, like eradication, so removing the malware from infected systems and restoring them to a clean state. And recovery, if you take, like restoring the affected systems and services to their normal operational state, ensuring the data integrity and availability. Okay, and it has some instant response plan that is we used to call as a IRP. So where this IRP, that is instant response plan, what will be do is that is a crucial for an effective IRT, right? So this plan outsides, you know, the procedures or some thing which it needs to replicate. Okay, so based on that, it will be preparing some establishing some procedures, and it will have some deduction as well as analysis, and it contains some containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident activity. So the main benefit of a dedicated IR team is that reduced damage, faster recovery, enhanced security posture, as well as the compliance. Okay. So shift and effective response minimizes the impact of a malware instance. A structured approach accelerates the recovery process and minimizes the downtime. An enhanced security posture, learning from past incidents strengthens the organization's overall security defenses. Okay, so this is all about the IRT. And next is that we are going to discuss is about threat intelligence team. So here, these tracks threat actors and malware trends to some informed defenses. So here, these team leverages some malware analysis to extract the IOCs and build a more comprehensive understanding of malware behavior and attack techniques. Okay. So the malware analysis can expose the behavior and artifacts that threat hunters can use to find some activity such as access to some particular network connection, port, or a domain. Okay. And also if you take this provides context about the malware like the origin or the TTPS and all those stuff it will be providing. Okay. And it uses some IOCs where it to update some defenses or share in some like intelligence with some external communities. Example like ISC or Matter HTA attack. Okay, so these all comes under the threat intelligence system. So here is how we are gonna see is that threat intelligence team contributes the malware analysis. First one is that data collection and analysis. So first thing, it gathers the intelligence. Threat intelligence team collect the data from various sources, including open source intelligence, that is OSINT, and dark web monitoring, threat feeds, and internal security logs. And second one, like malware analysis, they analyze the malware samples to understand the behavior or identify the indicators of compromise, that is IOCs, and determine the tools, techniques, and procedures that we use to call as the TTP, it is used by the attackers, and provide some actionable insights that threat intelligence provides context around a malware, such as the motivation of attackers, the targets, and the potential impact on the organization. And proactive defense is that by understanding the threat landscape and specific malware targeting the organization, threat intelligence team enables security team to implement the proactive measures like updating firewall, enhancing the endpoint protection, and improving the security awareness training. And this threat intelligence enhances instant response by providing some crucial information for identifying, containing, and eradicating the malware infection, which is more effective. Okay. And third one, for improving the security posture, threat intelligence helps identify the vulnerabilities that attackers might exploit, allowing organizations to prioritize patching and mitigation efforts. And security awareness, if you take, so here it can be used to educate the employees about the latest threats and social engineering tactics used by the attackers, improving overall security awareness. And in threat hunting, threat intelligence enables the security teams to proactively hunt for threats on their networks, which identifies a malicious activity that might have or otherwise gone, undetected. Okay. And next one, like collaboration and sharing, like internal collaboration, it can goes with some communities such as instant responder or security operations center team or security engineer to share information as well as to coordinate the effort. Okay, so this is all about the threat intelligence team. Next one we're gonna see is that a digital forensics team. So what they will do uh, in case of malware is that, so digital forensic team also it plays a crucial role, in malware analysis by investigating some cyber incidents or identifying the attack vectors, attributing attacks, and developing the mitigation strategies. Okay, so they gather and analyze the evidence for legal or some internal review and acquires disk and memory images from some affected systems and identifies how malware entered and what it did and preserves chain of custody for some legal admissibility. They also use forensic techniques to analyze the malware samples, digital artifacts, and other evidence to understand how attacks are occurred and what systems were affected. Okay, and this digital forensic team it's also has some instant investigation and like digital forensic team investigate the cyber incidents like data breaches, a network intrusion or malware infection. They analyze the digital evidence to understand the nature of the incident, the extent of the compromise, and the potential impact. Okay, and identification of attack vectors. So by analyzing the malware samples and other digital artifacts, they identify the tools, techniques, and vulnerabilities which is used by the attackers. So this knowledge, what is vital for developing some kind of security measures and preventing some similar attacks in the future. Okay, and attribution and threat intelligence. Digital forensics can provide insights into the identity of threat actors and their motives. So this information helps in attributing attacks and contributing to threat intelligence by sharing knowledge about the emerging threats. And next one is that mitigation and remediation. So this malware analysis helps understand the behavior and functionality of the malicious code. So this understanding is crucial for developing the effective mitigation and remedial strategies, including identifying indicators of compromise, that is IOCs. So all those things comes under the digital forensic team. So here it preserves chain of custody for some legal admissibility. Next, we are gonna see is that red team in malware. Okay, so red team, what is the red team, blue team, and there is also purple team. Okay, there are so many things which is disgusting. But here, the terms we say is quite normal. So the red team, which emulates some real-world attackers to test the defenses, which includes the malware simulation. It may develop custom malware payloads to test the blue team detection and finding some security gaps before real attackers do. So this red team, what they will be doing in the manual NS, so let's see. So first thing is that they will be simulating some real world attacks. Like red team didn't just test for known vulnerabilities, they replicate the entire attack lifecycle from recognizes and initial access to some lateral movement and data exfiltration using the same tools and techniques as actual advisories and identify the vulnerabilities. So by actively trying to bypass some security measures, red teams uncover the weaknesses in security systems and even the organization's security policies and procedures. And next, like test detection and response, what they will do here is that they will assess how well an organization can detect and respond to the attacks, identifying the gaps in monitoring, alerting, as well as instant responding. Okay, and Red team, this often includes some social engineering and physical security assessments, recognizing that humans and physical access control are often the weakest link in the security chain. So the goal is not just to find the problems, but to provide the organizations with the information they need to fix them, improving their overall security posture. So these are the key aspects like goal-oriented or ethical and non-descriptive black box methodology. And you have to focus on some GTP. Okay, so these all comes under the red team. So next we are going to discuss is about the blue team. So blue team is otherwise called as, it's a combat team, right? So blue team in manual analysis, it focuses on the defensive side, right? So defense stacks real time like overlaps with the SOC team as well as the IR team. And it includes from cyber threats, including the malware analysis. They are responsible for monitoring for attacks, investigating incidents, and implementing the security measures to prevent and reduce the threats. Essentially, blue team act as a guardian, constantly working to identify and address the vulnerabilities in their organization's defense. Okay, this tunes some detection systems and implements the defense in-depth strategies and responds to some simulated or some real malware threats. Okay, it has some role like blue team. They have some role in malware analysis. What is that? Proactive defense, instant response, vulnerability management, threat intelligence, as well as the collaboration. Okay, and what are the key activities? Like key activities, if you take, they have some malware detection, malware triage, malware analysis, instant response, as well as the threat hunting. So this responds to some simulated or some real malware threats. Okay, so this is all about the blue team. So next one you're gonna see is that DevSecOps engineering team, or it's called as engineering team. So here, what will happen is that sys DevSecOps team, what they will do here, it implements and maintains secure systems and anti-malware tools. So develops the automation for detection and remediation and ensures the endpoint protection and EDR tools that are deployed properly. And it is a cross-functional group that integrates the security practices into all stages of the software development lifecycle, from a development or operations to security, fostering a culture of shared responsibility for security. And this approach ensures that security is built into the software from the beginning rather than being an afterthought, leading to faster development cycle and reduced risk and more secure application. Okay, and what are the principles and practices if you take shifting some security left, and DevSecOps emphasizes integrating security earlier in the development process rather than at the end. And this proactive approach helps to identify and fix the vulnerabilities during the development, which reduces the cost and effort of addressing them. And collaboration team. So this DevSecOps breaks down silos between the development, security, and operations team, which fosters the communication and collaboration to ensure everyone is aligned on security goals. And automation, if you take this, automated security checks and tools are integrated in the CI/CD pipeline to streamline the security testing and ensure the consistent application of security policies. And shared responsibility. So this engineering team promotes a culture where everyone on the team is responsible for security rather than relying solely on the dedicated security team. Okay, and this ensures the endpoint protection and EDR tools are deployed properly and what are the roles with respect to this development or the security and operation team. So DevSecOps engineer, security specialist, development team, operation team, as well as the leadership. Okay. So what are the benefits of DevSecOps or the engineering team is that first one, reduced security risk. Second one, faster time to market, improved collaboration, reduced cost, as well as increased agility. Okay, so these all comes under this engineering team. Okay, so here you will be able to see what are the team and what are the primary role in malware analysis. So SOC team which monitors and detects the malware activity, and second one, the malware analysis team, they dissect and understand the malware behavior. And instead there is IR team. They respond, contains and recovers from the malware. And threat intelligence team, so they track and informs about the emerging threats. And digital forensics team, they collect and analyze the malware related evidences. And red team, so this red team simulates malware attacks to test the defenses. And blue team, so this defends against some real simulated malware attack. And this engineering team or the DevSecOps team, this maintains secure systems and malware tools. Okay, so these are the primary roles of malware analysis. So in this particular video or this session, we have discussed on the roles of combat team and how it is working and what are the teams to be performed. Like we have discussed what are the tools and platforms is needed and what are the best practices to be followed for this combat team. And we have seen like SOC team, the Security Operations Center team, Instant Response team, Threat Intelligence team, Malware Research team, a security product vendor, OS vendor, and some penetration testing. Okay, so if you take the drawbacks of this combat team's drawback, if you take, so there are so many drawbacks. Like it includes which were my in case of military operation, it has some potential drawback like physical demand or the psychological stress or fratricide. In case of operation challenges, separation from the training and families and structured environment, and emphasis on Maya details, potential for some misuse of authority. So these are the constraints or where we have to do some consideration in order to promote. Yes. And one more a real-time example, if you take in like in combat team, example, if you take the real time. Okay. The first case I would like to share is that in military, so often it happens in military operations by combining the strengths of various unit types. Okay, and infantry brigade combat team, that is IBCT, and IBCT in the US Army is a light maneuverable force composed of infantry battalions, cavalry squadrons, artillery engineers, and support elements. So these combat teams may include a variety of specialized units like reconnaissance engineers, artillery, as well as the signal elements. Hope this video will be very useful for you. We will see in the next video. Thank you all.